Get on. Now then, here we are, me at Mutt, currently on my piece of land, and I'm here today to show you my new project. I've acquired a van, and I've obviously got quite a few projects already, like my silo, which is just sat there. I've got a shipping container conversion, and also my yurt. So just to add to the bank of these quite unique projects, I am going to do a unique van conversion. So let's have a look at what I've got. She is a VW Crafter, medium height and long wheelbase. Let me just show you just how long she is. She just keeps going and going and going, which is awesome because the longer the vehicle, I guess, the longer I can stay out there and travel the world. So that is my plan. I want to get myself out into Europe and potentially even further than that, beyond Europe into Africa and what have you, just to spend as much time as possible adventuring and enjoying life. The van itself is in grey. Now, I didn't want to get a white van because there's a million of them out there, so I want it to be a little bit different. So grey is quite rare compared, but the problem with a dark van like this is that when it comes to the sunshine, it really does heat it up. So I'm going to have to make sure that I double insulate everything to keep the heat out. I'm not too worried about keeping the heat in because for me, I'm just happy just in a sleeping bag, surviving at -10 on a mountain in the snow. So for this, it's going to be luxury. The van itself didn't come with any windows in the back at all, so in the last sort of week I've just fit these two here, and I've also fit one either side, which are this sort of safari style window which open outwards, which is going to allow me to have plenty of airflow in the van, and also even if it's raining I can still have these open a little bit. So the whole of the van build, I'm actually going to document the lot, so there'll be plenty of videos coming out. So if you press the subscribe button, which is free, you will be able to see all my upcoming videos, which is going to be pretty awesome if you're going to be doing your own van, because I'm going to have so many different ways of thinking. I'm definitely an out of the box thinker, so I'll have some very unique designs in there. The layout is going to be completely different to anything you've probably ever seen, and hopefully you might get the odd sort of a hint and tip along the way. The bodywork is pretty immaculate. We've got a slight little wave in the metalwork there, I don't know if you can make that out. And on the back door we've got a little bit of an oddity, which is this thing. Some sort of cat flap, although it's the wrong shape for a cat flap. So instead of getting a cat for the van, I think I'll have to get a tortoise. It's a tortoise flap. There's also another couple of oddities. We've got these metal bits here which are sticking out either side, and these are absolutely rock solid to the van. So I don't know whether I could use that as some sort of table mount or something, or maybe have some hammock that comes off and round and sits on the back. But I will come up with some special design for these things. But overall, I am just well happy with it, and it's just a complete blank canvas for me to just put my creative brain into. So very exciting. So let's open the door and get inside. Here he is, look. You can see as he comes up there, he's got his head down slightly. And that is because he absolutely hates travelling, don't you, Bluey? So he always tries to avoid vehicles when possible. Go on, get him. What do you think? He doesn't like it, does he? Go on then. So although I do have to accommodate him in it, I don't think I'll be taking him on elongated adventures where I'm travelling for long periods of time in it, because he just does not like travelling. So anyway, I will do my best to make sure that he's comfortable and happy. So let's get inside and I'll tell you their plan. I'm just going to turn a light on. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. That is my van. It is vast. What an absolutely amazing space. And if you saw my last van, which was a tiny one, I was very creative with that space and came up with some pretty unique concepts, I would say. And now I've got this massive thing to deal with. I am going to be able to just utilize my brain and let it spill out into that whole area there, which is just, oh, so exciting. It's just something that really does get me going. So the plan is, where should we start? In this end here, I am going to have a bench that goes along there and along this side, and that is going to stop. I've just sort of marked it out at that point there. So that whole L section is going to convert into a bed as well. I have just cut into this just to work out what I want to do with it, really. I mean, it was a solid piece, obviously. I've just cut this doorway through, and that is because if I just drop this seat, you can see it's actually quite nice because you get a good view all the way through there, both sides. So, bit of a funny one to work out exactly what I need with that, but I'll show that in another video of why I've done that. All the panels were fully installed all the way around here, so the metalwork underneath, as you can see, is just immaculate. And I took this one off obviously to fit that window, so I'm expecting it to be the same all the way around. The floor does look a little messy. It's had some sort of oil on it, so I think there's some sort of machinery sat here, and that I'm hoping is going to be exactly the same underneath. We've got a few little bits just to tidy up. You can see the scratches on there. They want painting, so there's no chance of any rust. And on the back doors and also this door, there are also a few scratches which do need sorting out. I actually can't stand the usual van layouts on a van this side, where you've got a bed that sits at about this sort of height, a garage underneath it, and generally you sleep sideways. Now, me at 6 foot tall, I don't fit in this space at all, and I don't want to be messing about putting on sort of side pods, because I just think they look shite as well, because you've got these sort of like box sections where your feet and head fit in, and it's just not for me. So, me being a single guy, I don't even need to have a double bed, but I'm going to turn this bench system here into a sleeping area for myself, but I am going to do it so it will turn into a double-sized bed, just in case I get lucky. The other thing that I do need to really consider is, and this is quite a big one really, I actually need to have 2 beds in this van, and that is because my daughter finishes her A-levels this summer, so when she finishes, she's free. I'm completely free, and this might be the only opportunity we ever get to spend some really nice time together. So I'm absolutely praying that I can get her to come with me. The only issue is she's such a home bird. She loves being at home, so it might be a problem. So I'll have to try put in some luxuries to make sure that she's going to feel at home and actually make this into her home. So if that's my bed there, my plan is to have another single bed that sits at about this height, running this way down, doing the matrix, and that will allow me to have plenty of storage underneath. So in a way, that's going to be my garage space for putting, I don't know, clothes, all my sort of camping gear and everything that I actually need for my other adventures, and that can fit in there. And what I also will need to consider is putting a toilet in, and I do not like, you know, you get these toilets where there's like a cupboard, you just open a door and you have to drag something out and you're messing about, and then the toilet's just in the middle of where you're sitting, and it just does not work, especially if there's 2 people in the van. So for me, I want to have a separate toilet area, and that is going to be all the way down here, right at the end. So the bed will finish somewhere here, and that's going to allow me to put a toilet about here, something like that. And what I'll do is I'll have it where there's some sort of curtain system that shuts it off, so even if one person is sat at that end of the van chilling out, watching TV or whatever, then the other person can come and use the toilet, and it's not like you feel you're literally sat next to someone going for a wee or whatever. So that's going to be a plan for this side. there is potential to put some higher cupboards up here, but again, I don't like that. I just think it looks messy, and it feels like enclosed and it's all falling on top of you. So if I can keep all this space open, that is going to be way more beneficial for my brain rather than having something sat on you. I've got a couple of awesome storage ideas to fit into that, to make sure that I just utilize every single centimetre of space. So I'm looking forward to fully designing, just tweaking it so it works absolutely perfectly. So the most of the house at this side are done. And that just means I've got this side to fit a kitchen. So I'm going to put a sideboard in here. I'm going to have a slightly higher than normal worktop, because normal worktops are 900 millimeters, and me being 6 foot tall, I am literally just bent over when I'm chopping and doing what have you. And you know, I just feel like I'm round shouldered all the time. So I want to be able to stand up straight and have it a little bit higher. So that will also allow me to have a bit more space in here, because I'm going to have a hob, a sink, the water storage underneath. I could potentially do an underslung tank, but I'm going to work that out as I go. I need to have storage for gas for the hob, and potentially the gas is going to feed at the back an external shower. So I might have some sort of shower system where I can actually have a shower out at the back. And then that's everything. All bases are covered. I want to be able to store 2 bikes here as well, and that's quite important because this van is just a ridiculously big van and you almost need 2 parking spaces for it. So to park in a town, it's pretty much impossible. I've been driving it around for this last month, and at times I'm just getting annoyed because I just can't park anywhere. So if we're in some amazing town in the middle of Europe somewhere, what we could do is park on the outskirts and then get 2 bikes out, being me and my daughter, please come with me, and then we can skedaddle into town on the bikes. So I'm going to put a couple of fork mounts up here which are adjustable height, because then I can have different types of bike on there. And for me, cycling's a necessity because it's great for fitness and also as a tool or a vehicle to get around. What else? There'll be tons of insulation going in. I'm going to board it all out. I'm going to have it in some sort of cottage style, I don't know, more sort of like browns and greens. I want it to feel like I'm sat in a jacuzzi under a tree looking up at the stars, rather than the usual sort of professional builds, which I literally hate, because they're just made out of these materials and they're all sort of greys and, you know, whites and all that, and it just looks to me like I don't know, a toilet in a bloody supermarket where you get these sort of backing sets done, you know, above the urinals and all that, and it's like, I personally do not want to sleep in there. So I'm going to make it cozy. It's going to feel lovely, it's going to have warmth, it's going to have just nice colours and textures, and I'm going to really sort of go to town with the design of it, because I am literally going to do it to the point where I can live in it. So there we go. There is a hell of a lot to do in here, but I've already got a bit of assistance from a few brands that are going to provide me with some of the kits, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So if you are interested in potentially having some of your brand showcased in here, then just give us a shout, because I am looking for a few other things as well which I am in need of. And I am going to be doing this as a full DIY on a budget, so it's more open to most people, rather than you spending a ridiculous amount of money, like, I don't know, 15-20 grand on a conversion through a company. I'm going to do this for absolute minimal, but I am not going to cut any corners as well, because it is going to be done in a very high-end finish, I will say, and I'm going to show you some of that in a minute. Anyway, back to the cab. In here we have got the essentials, starting with the air conditioning. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of glass in there and it's all very dark, so the sunshine would literally turn this into an oven. So I do not want to be sat in there in my Speedos sweating to death. Another thing that was essential for me was having some cruise control, because for those long days in the saddle where you are having to drive for sort of 6 hours at a time, I just want to be able to chill out, relax, click on the cruise control, and then just listen to some music and sing away. We also have parking sensors, which normally I wouldn't really be bothered about because I'm quite a capable driver, and also the fact that they are really annoying, but because the end of the van there is in a completely different time zone, they're actually really essential. We've also got some seat covers here which have been on since the day the van was bought, and because of that, if I just pull this back up, you can just see how immaculate the seats are under there. Also, there's been carpets down everywhere, so underneath that it's just immaculate. But overall, that has got everything that I need. We've also got a little bit of storage above where I can just put my essentials like a waterproof jacket. Right, let me show you some magic items that I've bought already for the van, which is going to set everything off. And yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Woo! Let's just grab that light because we might need it in here. What do you say, Bluey dog? Hey, do you like your new van? Come on then. Come on. That's a good lad. Hey. There we go. Cuddles all round, eh? Go on then. This is my Quonset hut with that beautiful curved roof, and I've used it for storage for many years, so there is an abomination of my life crap in that end. But it's dry. We've got a full roof over our heads, and I've also got this big space here, which is big enough for me to manoeuvre an 8-foot plyboard and obviously cut it. So it just gives me a dry working space to quite easily cut, mess about in here, and walk out there straight into the van. And when you're doing these sorts of things, to get perfection, you do need to sort of cut and trim and just take off little bits here and there. So rather than having a long shuttle run, I've only got a couple of meters, so it is going to speed up the process. So I'm looking forward to starting in here. Now, one thing for me was the fact that to buy any sort of van furniture costs an absolute arm and a leg, literally. Just to get a few items for in there, it's like 1,500 quid to about sort of £3,500–4,000. And I was like, there's no chance at all that I'm going to waste money on that when I can build stuff myself. So to make it as cheap as possible, what I've actually done is go sort of shopping for the last month on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and stuff like that, and pick up some absolute bargains which are going to be used in the van to help me keep the budget as low as possible. Low, down there. So if you look at my hoard, I have got loads of oak stuff here. So we've got things like drawers which are already pre-made. I mean, these are beautiful. You can just see we've got dovetail joints. We've got other drawer sets there. We've got this cupboard here which I just thought was brilliant because it's already vented slats, so I might need to have some ventilation for certain areas like for batteries and what have you. More drawer fronts. We've got cupboards here, another drawer there, and obviously all this, I mean, this is actually solid oak panelling in here. But I mean, that can just literally be used for anything. So I've also got this was the back of some cupboards, but if you look at that, that's just some oak veneer on top of like a thin board. But that is going to keep the build lighter weight, and obviously most of that could potentially come in. I mean, there we've got 6 solid oak doors, and they're quite lightweight as well because they've got some thin strips of oak holding it all together. But that, for all that, only cost me £125. So I am going to be able to make a hell of a lot out of it, and I will have spare at the end. What do you reckon, dog? Coming to say hello? So a couple of the more essential parts which do cost are the seating to like foam cushions, and then obviously, I mean, I can sew with a sewing machine, no problem, but to make all the cushions, that takes forever. So look what I found. You won't believe this. We'll just whip this off. we have got a full set of van cushion set, all in tan leather. Absolutely beautiful. So from, well, every side, whoa, just drop that on floor. But everything we need. So as you can see, that's going to be one of the main benches. We've got another one there which can be a bench. These are the sort of corner upstand cushions that you sit against. But all that amazingly cost me £250. You know, I couldn't make it myself for that. That's like a day's labour, isn't it? I mean, you can't make all that in a day, never mind buying materials. So that was a bargain. And then for my kitchen work unit, I have found the perfect oak dresser. So this has got an absolutely beautiful solid top on, so I can cut sections out of that top to put in the hob and the sink. And it took me forever to find the perfect item, because the doors have to open only a certain amount, because I've got a very sort of slim corridor. So to get one with small doors, two at that end, two at that end, and some drawers in the middle, was actually quite hard, rather than just having one big door that swung out and would have come out too far. But that is absolutely beautiful. It was bespoke made by some guy for this couple, and it cost them a hell of a lot of money to have made, and I bought it for £250. So there's 500 quid there. Fair enough, that's quite expensive, but I would never be able to get anything for that price to that quality. And obviously I've got my hoard of materials there. So with it all, let's get stuck in and make this van something very, very special. So there we go. My new van, my new life plan, my new life project, and my new home. And this is going to open up so many more opportunities for me to get to places that I have never been to before. So it's just going to open my mind up, and hopefully I can still adventure whilst I'm out there and make plenty of videos along the way, doing the van life thing, and also wild camping in some spectacular places throughout Europe this year. And then who knows, we might end up traveling a bit further. So if you want to watch the van build and you want to see me traveling over yonder to far off lands, then press that subscribe button and join in. It is completely free, and it will just make sure that when I post a video, it'll come up on your feed, and then hopefully you get to watch and see what we're up to. And when I say we, that's me and Mutt. Here then, Bluey, come here. Come on. So from me and the beautiful Blue, here he is. Hey, look at that daft thing, eh? We'll see you on the next one. Take care.